all set then for the first feature race of the second season of A1. Lights go out and away we go. And who's going to make the start? South Africa, France trying to get through. Mexico's made a brilliant start. Mexico and South Africa has been swamped. South Africa down to 4th place. Here comes Great Britain. Great Britain going around the outside. Darren Manning's made a good start, but he's going to emerge in 3rd.
And Nico Hultberg trying to get alongside South Africa. South Africa had a terrible start. That was inexperienced. And look how Saga's gone off. And he's been in the turn too. Something went wrong. We couldn't quite see, and we'll have a review of that. So the winner of race 1 is out on the first lap in turn 2.
You said it would all happen off the standing start, John. Absolutely right. Mexico got away well. South Africa made a poor start. Great Britain made a great start, but have just lost out a little bit now to Germany. So they've gone back to 4th position. Germany now running in 3rd place, and A1 title holders France are running in a very dangerous looking 2nd position.
Now we wait to see whether the corner workers can get that South Africa car removed to safety quickly. Otherwise we may have once again the safety car being deployed to bring the field back under the control until that car is moved to safety. It's in a vulnerable point of the track right now.
Netherlands up to 7th place as a result of the incidents that we've seen already. Mexico leads. 2nd place France. Germany close behind in 3rd. Look at the Netherlands there, protecting position from China. China running in 8th place. That's Kongsu Cheng, Frankie Cheng as we know him, who's going very well. He's got the Chinese car in the points. Ireland there getting squeezed out a bit.
Yes, I'm just trying to get the rail around Italy, and the tail enders making up the end of the field Pakistan. So all the excitement occurred going into turn 2 when South Africa, for inexplicable reasons, we just seem to see the car go straight on. He didn't really attempt to turn the corner, and we have a review of that no doubt in a moment or two as the field filters their way into, for the 2nd time, the Tarzan hairpin.
China again, a nice tight line there for Frankie Cheng, but Great Britain with New Zealand right behind. This is 4th, 5th. Then they've got Canada there as well. Rest of them coming through. Indonesia a little bit lonely. India, Greece, Italy running. Ireland, though, way down in a 16th place, so 17th place, in fact. So that's a bit disappointing for Team Ireland. And up front, there, well, what's happened? I think that's France. I'm not sure. Czech Republic's in the pits without a front wing.
Well, that's contact with somebody. We didn't see that.
France is leading. France is in front of Mexico. We didn't see what happened, but France has now taken the lead.
Well, once now France gets its head into clear air, there's going to be no stopping. I tell you, Nicolas Lapierre, he has got the car. He's got a comparable car to that South Africa had, and that car and South Africa's car, to me, are the best 2 cars currently on circuit. They've got the best rear stability of all the field, and Nicolas Lapierre, a winner, a multiple winner last year for France. He knows how to win races, and now we've got this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th with Mexico, Germany and Great Britain, and inevitably it will be held up by the car leading, because they will be in defensive mode, while the other 2 behind, with New Zealand following Great Britain, will be in attack mode.
Now let's see if we can find out what happened. Oh, it was a mistake from Jeroen for Mexico. That's what allowed France ahead.
He made the same mistake in the first race, in the sprint race, ran too wide, and Nicolas Lapierre didn't need a second invitation to say there's the lead of the race taken, and once he is in the lead, he will just drive away.
So I'm afraid Thomas Kostka is out of his first A1GP feature race. The Czech Republic will be hoping for better things next week when Thomas Enger returns to that car. He's racing in the States this weekend. But here's a familiar picture. It's Team France leading an A1GP race. Nothing in front of them, trying to pull away from Mexico, Germany, Great Britain, New Zealand, Canada there. Then the Dutch car ahead of China, behind China, Switzerland and the USA.
And now that Nicolas Lapierre has got the lead, he can control the pace of the race. He is not required to try and pull out a huge lead. The only concern that anybody will have, of course, is when it comes to that mandatory pit stop, that everything goes well this year. And there have been modifications to the suspension, to the wheels, to the hubs, to the hub nut, to make the wheel change procedure a much more straightforward one than we had initially in A1GP.
Riding on board with Frankie Cheng for Team China. He's going well at the moment, holding on to 8th position. China's only ever been once in the points in A1GP, and he's in a thoroughly deserved 8th place. He's been up around that top 10 mark all weekend, and you can see from the onboard graphics there, the gears down to 2nd gear, back on the power here as he accelerates along this short straight leading into these 2 critical final corners. 4th gear through the first one, turn 11, now accelerates up out of here. Now, a little breathe on the throttle perhaps there, and through the Lyondike curve, the final bend, and onto into the straight.
And you can see on board with China that even Frankie Chen was having to apply a little bit of opposite lock, and he got three-quarter way around the corner, but a lock-up from Germany going into the Tarzan, and another one lock-up from Team GBR following in 4th place.
Team Switzerland has got a drive-through penalty. It's been deemed to have done something wrong, not quite sure what it's for, but they've got a penalty. Italy, they're trying to move on. Greece, the white and blue car, new to A1GP and under pressure from Italy, but I thought for a moment he'd done it, he hasn't, and Team Ireland might try and take advantage of this.
Well, if I was Michael Devaney, I wouldn't be too impatient, because these two cars, Greece and Italy, are probably going to get themselves tangled somewhere, if not sooner, maybe later, and Michael Devaney does not need to put the Team Ireland car into too much close proximity while these two nations battle it out.
It is close between these two, isn't it? Driving for Greece, we've had 3 different drivers in the car, but this is Takis Kaitazit, who's raced in F3 in Greece. He's also raced in touring cars. Now, let's just see what's... Oh, Germany's got past Mexico. You're watching from Great Britain here, and Germany has just slipped into 2nd place. Mexico down to 3rd. Great Britain still in 4th.
And Nico Hülkenberg, another German wunderkind, coming through the motor racing ranks, and highly rated indeed by David Sayers, who is running the Team Germany effort this year. He's got past Mexico. Mexico clearly not able to find the pace that they owe, and again, just watch the back of the car going through turn 11. And I think the problem that Salvador Duran has is he's suffering from a back end of the car that has not giving him confidence, and therefore he's not able to drive the car at the level. Particularly now, somebody's coming into the pits. Says it's too early to do a wheel tire change, but Canada dives on the inside, doesn't get past New Zealand.
I think it's Switzerland making their drive-through penalty.
It is.
There we are. So Sebastian Buemi's being a good boy, just 17. He's 18 at the end of October, end of the month. So let's just see. This was the moment that Germany got past. That was the end of the moment anyway, that Germany managed to nip past Team Mexico and make the move stick. That was a good effort from Nico Hülkenberg. I wondered for a moment whether Great Britain, Darren Manning, was going to be able to pass as well, but he's still in 4th place. He's ahead of New Zealand in 5th position. Switzerland back out on track as they deal with that damaged car of South Africa, which went off on the 1st lap.
Although all these battles have been taking place behind this man, Nicolas Lapierre, for France. They've looked back at the start. Let's have a look again, Ben, and catch what it was that went wrong. First, it was the start. Certainly a very, very poor start for Adrian Zaug, and then he, on the outside, suddenly just locks on the grass and straight in, and what a sad end to a superb start to Adrian Zaug's career in A1GP.
Well, he is a rookie, and he's allowed the odd mistake or two. That was his own mistake by the looks of things, but he had success earlier on today, and he will have plenty more, I'm sure, the sort of pace he demonstrated in that sprint race. But returning to what's going on now, Germany, can they do anything about the lead that Team France has got? Let's just watch them around this next lap. 5 laps completed, and no, France still with a faster lap on that last one than Team Germany.
Well, prior to all this, Germany, Great Britain, Mexico, they were all racing each other, and consequently Mexico, who was leading that group initially, was slowing the pace down. He couldn't go any quicker. That allowed France to draw away. But now that Hülkenberg has got clear of that battle for 2nd place, he's now picking up pace, but he's still averaging about 0.6, 0.7 of a second a lap slower than Nicolas Lapierre for France, who's got a comfortable lead of just under 4 seconds.
There's no doubt, I think, that Team China here, Frankie Cheng, is capable of lapping a little faster. He's staying right on the back of the Netherlands car. But meanwhile, Netherlands, Jeroen Bleekemolen, is also closing up every now and then on Team Canada just ahead, and also New Zealand's not far ahead in this bunch. There's a real group of cars all tied together, each perhaps looking for a tiny mistake from the other to take advantage of. So far so good, but we're still in the very early stages of the race. We're still 3 laps to go before we're into the pit window. Then the strategy will come to the fore.
And also that'll be the point when the fatigue begins to set in, as we saw the cars come through turn 5, 6 and 7. That's the part of the racetrack where the drivers are really suffering, especially through 6 down to 7. It's a very long gradual curve, which then towards the end and approaching turn 7 starts to tighten, and it's a heavy load on the upper body and the necks and the head of the drivers.
New Zealand still leading this group then out through turn 12, Lyndike corner, huge crowd. Dutch car currently running in 7th place. That's okay. Reasonable position, keeps you in good shape for the latter part of this race when the pit stops will make all the difference. Quite a deep line taken into the corner by New Zealand. China taking a slightly tighter line in at the back of that group. Wonderful view looking down over the cars as they go into turn 2. That was the area that South Africa went off at, and of course it's game over for Team South Africa in this feature race. We've also lost the Czech Republic, we lost Malaysia as well, although no, Malaysia is back out in the race, so they did repair the car and get him running, but he's lost quite a few laps as a result.
Well, there's the overhead shot looking down into turn 5. And there, the corner, turn 6 is from this point here. That's a curve. It looks a straight, but it's actually a long curve. And the G-forces just build up. Of course, the load in the steering also. And teams have worked very hard to give their drivers a greater comfort zone than they would normally have on other racetracks. This circuit is a very tough circuit. And now for Nicolas Lapierre, for France, he's in that ideal situation. He's got no traffic ahead of him. He's got nobody close behind. The nearest is Germany, 3.7 seconds. There's no pressure, so he is able to control the pace of the race and drive the racetrack as he sees fit.
Yeah, it's a perfect position for Nicolas Lapierre for Team France. It's a position they're very accustomed to, having taken 13 wins in the first season of A1GP. I don't think they're going to have it all easy. They might have got it all right here in this feature race, but certainly the start went very much in their favour. And then that little mistake from Mexico allowing them to go through. Mexico struggling though, because Great Britain is now also past Mexico. Great Britain now in 3rd position. Mexico still struggling with the back end grip of the car.
Yeah, we spoke to Salvador Duran earlier, and he was saying that just simply they've got to find a way to give him more self-confidence, give the car more rear end grip. But if that's what the problem is, and I suspect that it is, then he's really going to sit there as a passenger. The best he can hope for is when they come in to make a tyre change, that mandatory pit stop, that at the same time, or in fact they can't do it, there's only 6 people available there. We see teams preparing already, but to maybe make an aerodynamic change, maybe take some of the front wing out of the car to help the steering load, and therefore make the life of the driver something that he can actually survive and get through the 45 laps or 70 minutes.
There's poor Team Switzerland, having had that drive-through penalty, now running down in 18th position, so it's going to be a tough one. It might be well worth their while going for a different strategy to the others. 8 laps. Once they've done 8 laps, the pit lane window is open, and we're going to see that mark coming up in just a moment. So the first few pit stops are going to be made very soon. Team Germany currently running in 2nd place. It's going to be a nerve-wracking time for the mechanics. The first pit stop of the season. Germany in 2nd place there. Great Britain in 3rd. Darren Manning driving for Great Britain this weekend. Robbie Kerr, who drove last year, busy this weekend at Le Mans, and Darren got the nod for this weekend. Now there's Team Mexico struggling for grip a touch, running in 4th place.
One of the other things that Salvador mentioned to us was that he also was suffering from a heavy bruise on his elbow on his left arm, which was just simply because he was using it to lever himself in the cockpit to get some support. Now that was something that probably wouldn't ordinarily give you a problem, but on a racetrack like this, which is so physical, any problem that you have physically will work against you, and that combined with a car that is maybe not helping him as much as he needs is the reason why we see Mexico drop down to 4th place, and they're now just under 2 seconds behind Team Great Britain and 7.5 seconds behind race leader France.
We could see lots of changes when the pit stops are made, because so many cars are running in close attendance to one another. Very likely to see some big changes. You can see that Italy's got past Greece. Italy have just managed that move, and Ireland now trying to do likewise. We've got to watch out. Basil Shaban is there for Lebanon as well. Switzerland does make the first pit stop.
So let's watch and see the Swiss team, how they do it. It looks pretty smooth to me. Gets back out, and Ireland caught between Greece and Lebanon. And Michael Devaney, another driver who lost a full practice session on Saturday morning because of a fuel pressure problem. And of course, any track time that is lost is track time you can never ever make up. And in terms of car setup, well, they just really are having to try and second guess what's going to happen now for a race of this duration.
So pit lane is now open. Switzerland were able to take advantage of that because they were further back. Once the leader had crossed the line to complete 8 laps, they were able to come into the pit, so they took advantage of that fact, and they'll hope to get some clean air and get some quick running. It might help Switzerland later on in the race. Now we wait to see who else is going to make a stop, and it's the Netherlands going for an early stop. So Jeroen Bleekemolen, I think that's Brazil also heading into the pits. Brazil coming in from 10th place.
I'll tell you, it'll be a welcome break for both these drivers just to come into the pits so early. They've got a long way to go. 36 laps remain. So the Dutch team will run out the car stationary. They can't do anything with the car until that car is stationary in the pit lane. There you see the camera, the head camera. So let's see. Goes on the left front man's done a good job. Jack's down. Okay, Jeroen, get the car in gear, and less to just work. The back of the car was slower than on the front, so the front two guys had gotten out of the way, but he was still being held by the man with the lollipop. And there, Brazil has to fall in line behind. Now they must stay inside, and well, the broken line, I don't know what the ruling is on that. That is a broken white line, so they may be allowed to. Pakistan has stopped out on track. Well, that's coming into the pits.
That's coming into the pits.
I think he's locked it up, yes.
Real problems for everybody else who wants to make a pit stop, because he could well be blocking the pit lane entrance. I'm not sure. No, there might be just space around the front of his car, but that's very tight.
There is not an awful lot of space, but he has locked it up coming into the pits and stalled, and he is stuck there. And of course the marshals couldn't see it because he was hidden behind the barrier. Now the pennies dropped there, running to get that car. He's going to have to find the car, get the safety device, safety mechanism to put the car into neutral before they can push it out of the way.
Team France leading and lapping fast, and now somebody's coming in. Two cars trying to come into the pits. It's Great Britain. Have they managed to? Yes, they have. They managed to get around the front. I think Mexico was going to.
New Zealand was looking to come in, I think, and they decided not to. And the other, but you've got to slow down, wave yellow flags. But New Zealand, I think, were told, no, don't come in. And Team GBR is here.
Team GBR in the pits then. This has got to be a good stop for Great Britain. One guy per wheel has to remove one wheel, put the new one on. Another crew member's allowed to move the wheels then once they're off the car. But it's got to be one person per corner. There's a problem on the front, maybe a little bit slow on the front.
Yeah, the right front just didn't seem to go on as cleanly, and the nut maybe didn't disengage from the gun itself. But Darren Manning, there's a fresh set of rubber on. He'll be delighted to have that little breath. And the safety car is not being deployed. It's certainly moving out towards the exit of the pits. Wave yellow flags, and I think we're going to see the safety car deployed very shortly to ensure we get that Pakistan car removed to safety.
Now that's going to make a big difference, because some people have stopped and some people haven't stopped. If the safety car comes out now, oh, there's what happened to Pakistan.
Yes, simply came in and just locked up the rear brakes as he was turning the wheel. That's inexperience, but you know, things like that happen, and unfortunately now the consequence is not only did it compromise some of the entrance into the pit lane, now Pakistan have got running. Now they might well make a pit stop, and they may decide to say, well, look, let's call it a day.
Noah Ali brings the car in. They're still standing by with the safety car. They haven't actually brought it out, and I think, I'm not sure, it looks as though it is being deployed now. Out on track, safety car, and this now means the pit lane has closed. Once the safety car is on track, you are not allowed to make your pit stop. So all of those who have made their pit stop are now going to be able to bunch up behind the safety car, and it's going to be an advantage to those that have stopped.
Indeed it is. That's going to favour particularly teams like Team GBR, because they were the car that was running in fourth place, while other three top, France, Germany and Mexico, had not made their pit stops. Neither did Matt Halliday for New Zealand. He was told at the point he was about to turn in, no, stay out on track.
So the safety car has picked up the race leader, Team France, but France is not allowed to come into the pits while we've got a safety car on circuit, and that means that those guys who have already made a pit stop are in an excellent position, because the crocodile will all close up together, and you may be several cars behind the leader in that queue, but in terms of time, of course, you're very, very close behind him. So those lead cars, France, Germany and Mexico, could be in trouble here, up against the likes of Great Britain, the Netherlands and Brazil, those cars that have made their stops already. This is going to be fascinating once everything sorts itself out, and there'll be a few teams upset, but that's the way it goes.
Indeed it is, and you can imagine the teams that are going to be upset are going to be France, Germany, Mexico and New Zealand. The teams that are probably going to be rubbing their hands are in particular Team GBR, because that was the first of the front-running teams to make that pit stop before safety car deployment. But until all this washes out, the safety car is returned to the pit lane, and those teams that have been caught short by the introduction of the safety car, they then make their own pit stops. But what it's going to do is going to make a very exciting conclusion to this 45-lap or 70-minute feature race, because the unpredictability that deploying a safety car provides for is something that you can never factor into your calculations. You can only say it may come at some point, but you never know when.
You never know when, and this is really going to be very, very difficult to work out exactly what's going to happen here. Light's still on the safety car, so it's going to be out there for at least one more lap. Team France is the lead car. Sitting in behind, there is another car in there. Pakistan car, of course, as we know, has been lapped. So that was the car that had the problem coming into the pits. So Germany, Mexico, New Zealand is the order currently. But of those that have made a pit stop, let's tell you who's first as they all come across the line, and the timing and scoring system updates here. The first of the cars that has made a pit stop that is in that queue is indeed Great Britain. So it could be good news, and it was Great Britain and USA who made that call to come in. Remember, some cars made a call to come in and then changed their minds. They might be regretting it now.
Well, they will be regretting it, but of course they didn't know that the safety car was going to be deployed. They assumed that that car, the Pakistan car, could be quickly removed to safety and into the pit lane. They maybe didn't anticipate that this would be a safety car deployment. Consequently, the decision of New Zealand, as they were on their way, and then a very late minute call to say, no, stay out on track. They'll rue that decision. But, you know, you can never second guess what's going to happen when a deployment is going to be called.
So Team France won't have an awful lot of time in which to try and open up a lead. I guess the tactic, once the safety car comes in, is to go hell for leather and open up as much of a lead as possible before you come into the pits for your stop. But you've got to do it by lap 20. So we're only completed 12 laps so far, but that only gives them 8-lap window at the moment in which to try and open up the advantage before they come in and make their pit stop. Of course, Great Britain's quite a long way down in that queue, but nonetheless, it's still going to be a tall order for Team France and the others to open up enough of an advantage once we go green. The safety car lights are out, though, so they will be racing when they come back across the line next time. And Team France has the useful buffer, if you like, of the Team Pakistan car between itself and Germany. Germany is actually the second car in this race, even though it's not the second car on the road. Mexico, New Zealand, Canada, lots of people here will use this restart as an opportunity perhaps to attack going into Tarzan corner, and Nicolas Lapierre is taking it ever so slowly up through turn 9 and 10 there, the S's.
Yes, and he's fully entitled to do that, to let the safety car get back safely into the pits. He wants to get to these final two turns and then get on with the programme. Now, whether France determined there, he's done it, he's already accelerating flat out. And Pakistan has been caught short, and of course none of these cars are allowed to overtake each other until they cross the start-finish line.
This is going to work perfectly for France. That's a clever move, because Pakistan cannot be passed until they get to the line. Everybody else knows that. They know they can't overtake until they get to the line. Finally they can, and now Germany goes past, but look at the lead, and look at all this behind. China going down the inside. China's going to try and take Canada, surely. Oh, they just about made it. New Zealand's gone around the outside, still side by side with Canada. Nothing to choose between them, wheel to wheel. New Zealand stays ahead of Canada.
That was hard play from Matt Halliday. He had Canada right alongside him. He had to do everything he needed to do to keep that position. He did keep it, but smart thinking from Team France, and Nicolas Lapierre did everything he was required to do precisely. He slowed the pack down. He knew he had an advantage with Pakistan being directly behind him, and then when he accelerated, Pakistan was caught without his foot in the throttle, and everybody else, Germany and the others, were unable to do anything other than watch Team France steam away. But Canada and New Zealand coming back again. Canada deciding they don't like losing position to New Zealand, so down the inside into turn 7. That's very difficult to do it into there, but certainly Canada, James Hinchcliffe, first time in A1GP, giving Matt Halliday rain falling. There's that rain falling on the camera lens out of turn 8.
It looks slippery over there, doesn't it? And you could see the cars moving around a bit. Team France really managing to open up a lead here from Germany in second place, New Zealand in third, then Canada and China. China really racing hard here. Frankie Cheng showing every ounce of ability that we've seen. And you're right, look at the umbrellas going up.
Yes, the rain is coming on some. I think this is up around about turns 9, 10, 11 and 12. That's the backside of the circuit and the corner leading onto the straight. We haven't seen the umbrellas yet go up on pit straight, so it must be around the final 4 turns on this racetrack.
And this could again completely change the prospects for this race. Another bomb coming into the pits, because if they have to come in and change onto wet tyres, then it favours those that haven't stopped. Indonesia diving down the inside of Australia, and that was for position, that was for 5th place. And Anna Mikula putting a move on Ryan Briscoe. Indonesia gains the position from Australia.
So all the aces are being played here today, as we see Team Canada. They were battling with New Zealand for that position. They chose to come in and make the pit stop, and James Hinchcliffe, who was all over the back of Canada, knows Those look very fresh set of tyres to me.
Brand new tyres, and they've obviously taken the gamble that it's not going to get any wetter. Surely you'd want to wait a little bit. The pit lane window stays open for another 6 laps. Surely you'd want to stay out there at the moment and see what the weather's going to do and leave it to the last possible moment. It's up at the top end of the track, as you say. We can see dark clouds out of the side of our commentary box, but then it's much clearer down towards the Tarzan
Yes, but
corner.
we're getting raindrops hitting the side of our commentary position, which is just overlooking pit straight. We're not seeing umbrellas being raised yet on the grandstands directly in front of us, but clearly around this part of the track and further on towards 11 and 12, that's where those rain spots look to be at their heaviest.
So what's going on? France still lead. We've got some side-by-side battling here, and Great Britain, that is, with Team Italy trying to get past. That is to get further up inside the top 10, but Great Britain is still the first of the cars that has made a pit stop. It's still the lead car that has stopped, although it's down in 9th position.
And as every corner goes by, Darren Manning and Team GBR is losing ground to the field. He needs to get clear of Italy as quickly as possible. He needs to make the maximum use of those tyres, those fresh tyres that he had fitted some laps ago. So Team GBR, he's 6th.
He's got to watch out, though, because Netherlands and Brazil behind him have both made pit stops as well. So these guys are the ones who made their pit stops early and are in great shape here. But they've still got to get on with it, because it does depend how much France can open up that gap, as you say. Let's just take a look. This was Great Britain trying to get past Italy a moment ago.
And the door firmly shut to almost wheel to wheel, but Italy not conceding position. They're not entitled to do so, as Darren Manning gets alongside. So wet tyres going on to Team Ireland. Now the rain is beginning to fall more heavily as we look down into the front part of the circuit. Umbrellas have gradually, now they're going up.
Problem, though, John, with that left rear.
It's not coming off. Well, I think that might be some relief for Michael Devaney. It's been a terrible weekend for Ireland. The work that they put into this team is outstanding, and a little problem on that left rear. Cannot get the rear tyre off to put a wet tyre on.
France still leads, and their last lap was a 1:32.7, so they've only lost about 2 seconds on pace. There's the Czech car getting out of their way. Nicolas Lapierre sliding there. You can see the lack of grip, but their lap times have not gone. Oh, and it's very wet up on that section.
It is down around turns 9 and 10. Now you say France has lost 2 seconds, but everybody else is losing 3 and 4. That was Basil Chaban for Lebanon, and he slid wide, so Basil gets back on track. We're not seeing enough rain on the circuit to cause spray, and still a problem on that left rear. Finally they get the nut released. The wet weather tyre will go on. The rain is falling here on the pit lane. It's almost a mirror of what it was doing some 2 hours ago. And when that rain came through, it was very brief but very heavy, saturated the track, and it will only be a matter of moments before the racetrack as Matt Halliday makes his way into the pit lane. And is Matt Halliday going to fit a set of wet weather tyres? They must have little choice, because with the rain falling now, it is not going to ease up for the next 10 minutes or so, and it will be a wet track.
Wet tyres being made ready. It will be wet. The leader's lap time last time around 1:39, so they're now some 9 seconds off the pace. You've got to go for wet, and this is going to help France. Would you believe it? This is surely going to help France if they get a clean stop, because although they haven't stopped, they'll be able to go straight onto wet.
And there's a problem with the left rear from New Zealand as well. They cannot get that wheel tyre removed. We saw this with Ireland, the same thing. Of course, only one person allowed to work in that corner at a time. Nobody else can come in and touch it. There was Australia back out. Ryan Briscoe currently running down in 14th place.
Yes, but at least he's had a clean stop, and we're watching quite a few have dramas. Look at Great Britain slithering around on his slick tyres. That's Darren Manning. You know, they made an early pit stop, but of course at that time there was no danger of it raining.
Well, I think the Team GBR is going to throw the dice and gamble that this rainstorm might clear through more quickly than other people would anticipate and stay out. If he can stay out and avoid a second pit stop for a tyre change, this time to wet tyres, as long as he doesn't lose position. He's got the Netherlands lined up behind. He's got past Italy, finally Brazil, USA and India. They round out the top 10. Ahead of them, Indonesia, Germany and France have yet to come in.
And France stays out again, so they are also gambling. They're going to go to the last moment before they make their pit stop. Good tactics by Team France. They are going to wait until virtually lap 20, I would think, before they come into the pits. But Great Britain's got pressure on from local man Jeroen Bleekemolen for the Netherlands. The Netherlands going to the outside, down towards Tarzan corner. You can overtake on the outside here, and Bleekemolen's going to try and drive round the outside of Great Britain, and he's done it.
That was superb, absolutely fantastic from Jeroen Bleekemolen. Now that's local knowledge, that's what it means in the Tarzan hairpin. It is a bank corner, and as long as you can get sufficiently alongside the car you're trying to pass, you can keep station, and as long as you're just a nose ahead on the exit, then the other driver, in this case Darren Manning for Team GBR, has had to concede position. Rain on the lenses as they come up through turns 4. Let's look again at Bleekemolen goes to the outside. This is the long way around. Darren Manning did everything he had to do to defend the corner, but look at the speed Bleekemolen carried because he could run the car higher in the turn, and then off the corner he just gets that advantage. Here's the onboard look.
Great move this by Bleekemolen. It is local knowledge here because you can use a little bit of banking. It is a slightly banked corner, and he's used it absolutely to perfection. Positioned the car just right. He is now the lead car that has stopped, and that could be crucial, but remember, the weather conditions are changing things as well. When is France going to stop? Well, it could be this time around, but they've got another lap or two in which they could do it.
Well, France is going to stay out until the last possible moment. If they've got to go on to wets, well, they're going to gamble that this rain may clear away in the hope that they can stay at the last possible moment on a set of dry tyres. But the track, you can see there how much now that you're seeing the lines of the tyres on that tarmac. It is now getting to the point where it is quite difficult to keep the car straight and narrow, and especially as they come off turn 12. That is a difficult corner in the dry, but to try and take it in the wet on a set of dry where there's slick tyres is pushing the skill of the drivers just to the very edge.
It is really raining hard opposite our commentary position now. It's coming down very, very heavily, and it's going to get nasty out there if you're
look, everybody has decided. Right, Darren Manning amongst them. Second stop for Team GBR. This will be a stop for wet tyres.
Great Britain in for the
second. It's Indonesia and Lebanon. They almost collide. Indonesia decided it wanted a bit of ground that Lebanon had stopped on. That was Lebanon's garage. Indonesia, yours was one further down.
Wheels off all right on the British car, so Manning going for wet tyres. We're still waiting for France to make their stop. Mexico coming back in. Canada's in.
Oh, he's been blocked in. Canada's come in. And Canada, these are sister operations, and Canada's come in, stopped on the angle, and that of course prevented Darren Manning from getting a clean run out. He had to be pulled back by his team. Again, vital seconds lost in a situation nothing to do with Team GBR. Canada just dived in and stopped in front of him.
It is massively slippery out there now. The Netherlands, I don't think, did come in, so the Netherlands has moved right up. China there has rejoined now on wet tyres, just with India. When are we going to see France in? Surely they're going to be into the pits this time, if they've managed to get round at all, because it's been so slippery. Just seeing the Czech car come past our commentary position. Indonesia coming in there as well. Still waiting to see France. New Zealand come across the line.
And they're waiting for Germany here in the pit lane, as you see France struggling all around the racetrack, struggling for traction, just struggling for the sheer, the velocity of the car, the load of the car, enough to break traction and see that car. Now, oh, and France all over the pace. Look at that steering with the movements. Lapierre out and screams pass down on the right-hand side. Now, I hope Lapierre saw that, because had it
We're back on board with Team China at the moment. The USA does lead this race. France is now in second place. So USA, having not made that stop, is leading. France is in second. Germany is in third place. And China trying to get past Mexico once again. We saw that little side-by-side action a moment ago. Those two racing hard. The Netherlands is now in fourth place. And then we're waiting for the others. Italy have really gained through this. They did make an early pit stop onto wet tyres. So Italy has jumped up to fifth. Great Britain is now sixth. Switzerland is up to seventh. Remember, Switzerland made that early pit stop, then they made another pit stop to go onto wet, so Switzerland's jumped up to seventh. Australia is eighth, India is ninth, and Mexico and China are 10th and 11th.
And just to add to this mix, this is the first time this weekend anybody's been on a set of wet weather tyres, so where their car setups are in relation to running in the wet tyres on a track that is not just wet, it's a very slick racetrack. There's not a lot of grip coming from the racetrack, and for the first time this weekend, it's a brand new adventure.
It is, but what heroics from Phil Giebler for Team USA. It stopped raining. Is it going to work for him? Let's see. Now that was China.
Yes, and Malaysia back out on track. They got repair to that car, and it was China went off track up in the tires, and that's just turning in and the back end stepping out and having to correct. and the gravel trap there beckoned, and we saw Lebanon follow him up. Now that wasn't in sympathy, that was just probably Basil Shaban got caught out by the extra moisture. In fact, what you'd call it almost monsoon rain down at Tarzan.
Now then, Team USA is still struggling around on these slick tyres. They were only 15 seconds, 15 seconds ahead of France last time around, and Lapierre will be taking huge chunks out of his lead.
Yeah, we've got to see the lap time when France come across start-finish line to see 1:57.6. Now it's getting better by the lap for Team USA, but the gap between France and the USA, New Zealand go off track as well. It's now down to 8.4 seconds. The 7-second difference between wets and dries is a lot less than I would have anticipated. So the wet weather tyre benefit over the slick that the USA are running is not as significant as we might have expected.
This was the moment that Matt Halliday ran a bit wild. He got the back end out first and then shot himself right off track, but managed to keep it going. Bit of luck and a bit of judgment, and he's still in there. New Zealand were 16th though last time around, so he's lost a lot of time. There is the United States car. Phil Giebler, the hero of the Alpha. Great Britain, Darren Manning going dirt tracking through the gravel. Can he get it going? Keep it going, keep it going. Yes, he's back on track. That was from 6th position. He rejoins, but that's Malaysia, who's a couple of laps down.
But what's disappointing is that the difference in lap time between wets and dries is a lot less than we anticipated. And for the Team USA to be courageous enough to stay out, for Phil Giebler to have the skill to stay out, doing 1:57 against the single fastest lap so far on wets, which is a 1:49.6. 9 seconds difference between the two cars, but that is not very much. And of course there we see Darren Manning locked it up going into the Tarzan hairpin, fighting to keep the car in some semblance of straight line into the gravel. Darren Manning's fastest lap on wet tyres was only at 1:52. That's 2 seconds slower than France and Germany, similarly equipped, have been doing.
So USA leads. There is the gap. You can see it now between USA and France. USA still on slick tyres. France attacking on wet tyres. Germany there running in 3rd place. Then the Netherlands in 4th position, also on wet tyres.
And it looks to me like the rain has stopped. The umbrellas are certainly down. We are now contending with a track that will start to become a drying track. Car off in turn 11. We saw a car stuck against the barrier, obviously spun on the exit of 11 and slapped the barrier on the inside. It is Pakistan.
So Nur Ali's been having a bit of an adventurous time here on his A1 debut, but I think that could be the end of the day for the American-based Pakistani, and it's still USA leading, but just by 2.2 seconds as they crossed the line last time. A 1:56 from USA, 6 seconds slower on the lap than France. France using the wet tyres to their best effect.
But the key is going to come at what point does the transition occur. For the wet tyre to have no more than an advantage of 6 seconds is, well, it means that when the track gets a drying line, then the advantage is going to go back to Team USA. What a courageous decision. I said it once, I'm going to say it a second time. Phil Giebler has done a magnificent job. When others have been on wets and gone off, he's on slicks, and so far has stayed on line.
Now, he doesn't need to fight France off too much, because if France get ahead, all well and good, they will still probably have to change onto slick tyres, whereas Phil Giebler for Team USA is already on his slick tyres. He doesn't have to change again if the track continues to dry out.
But look forward there, the sky, and that's looking eastward, looks very, very black indeed. But in the meantime, that's what we've got pretty much now with the rest of the circuit. Nice blue sky.
Oh, this is fantastic. What a confrontation here. Team USA versus Team France for the lead in the feature race. Just about half distance now. And Giebler...
And he's made a mistake when he let him go through, or he ran wide, or the combination of two. Anyway, the fact is the pressure is off Phil Giebler. All he's got to do is still what he's done so successfully is keep this car on track. He's now got young Nico Hülkenberg from Germany behind him. He may be a little bit more impatient than we are. There's again another, is that Lebanon or Canada?
Yeah.
Up and down on the tyres, and these cars are all on wet weather tyres. Yet the lead car, well, the lead car up until a few moments ago had stayed on slicks and had stayed on track.
So USA has lost the lead to Team France, and now will lose second place to Germany. It's likely to lose third to the Netherlands as well, and the Dutch fans are going to go crazy when they can see a potential podium. And there is the orange car getting closer, but remember, if this track continues to dry, then Team USA... Oh, and there's a battle for the lead between France and Germany as well. Germany has caught right up to France, both on wet tyres. Look at the two leaders. Germany's going really well and putting Nicolas Lapierre under pressure.
First four cars covered by just about a second, and Germany, Nico Hülkenberg, who again starred in qualifying, but if you watch Jeroen Bleekemolen go past Phil Giebler for Team USA, now the track difference. Last lap for France was a 152, for Germany a 150, but more representatively 156 for Team USA. And the track, lap by lap, corner by corner, will start to dry. India's off down at the Tarzan. There was that contact. We saw a red car just go through the corner. Maybe the two cars got together.
So India may well be able to rejoin here. Great Britain currently running in ninth place. Let's just quickly run through the top 10. It's France, then Germany, the Netherlands, USA now down to fourth, Italy fifth, Switzerland in sixth place, Australia seventh, Mexico eighth, Great Britain ninth, India was 10th, then China, Indonesia, Singapore up to 13th place, Canada down to 14th, New Zealand 15th, Brazil 16th, then Greece, Ireland and Malaysia. That's how the runners are still running. And up front, it's France versus Germany versus the Netherlands. Countries all neighbouring each other here in Europe, and it's close as you like on track, all on wet tyres. And in the background, still Phil Giebler doing a heroic job on his slick tyres for Team USA. And if it continues to dry, this race could still come back to him.
Quickest car on racetrack right now, in fact, is the orange car of the Netherlands. The hero here, the Colos is up to the back of Germany. Germany moved from left to right to block. Only allowed to make one blocking attempt in a overtaking. Again, going around the outside. Look at the speedy carriage around the outside. France struggling for grip, but Jeroen can't quite get it done. I think, in fact, the reason that overtake didn't take place was because France was going so slowly on the exit of Tarzan that it ran, Hulkenberg ran into the back almost of France, and that sort of lost the momentum of the Netherlands.
Bleekemolen is trying every of the clever wet lines. There is a definite wet line here at Zandvoort, and if you get in the right groove, you can gain a lot of traction, and you can see the reaction. Look, this was when he went side by side into Tarzan. Look at the reaction he got from the crowd. Brilliant to see, but he's still in third place at the moment, and he's going to have to try a little bit harder, but it was a good opportunity.
Yes, but he's got to remember not to try and do too much too quickly, be patient. He's got parts of the track where he's got strengths, and that particularly is coming onto the straight and also at the end of the straight round the Tarzan hairpin. He knows this circuit better than any other competitor out here this afternoon, and he's just got to get himself in position, not to be too anxious, not to be too greedy almost, because Hulkenberg's trying to get all over the back and into over the front, in fact, of France, and let Bleekemolen just sit there, watch that action go on ahead of him. He's got a car currently that's quicker than the two in front of him. He's just got to be patient.
He has to be patient. Still 21 laps to go then. All of the pit stops have been made, unless they have to make pit stops again to change tyres. And for the Dutch team, Jan Lammers there, what a performance this is. Up to third place for their team on home soil, and with every opportunity still right with the other two. Team Germany there second. We were riding on board with Hulkenberg. It's France, Germany, the Netherlands, nothing to choose between them, and plenty of time left now. Cross the line they go this time.
Again, another block from Hulkenberg as they come down. Again, Bleekemolen goes to the outside this time. Well, I think
he's trying it.
He gets the speed, but again, France is there, and it sort of seems to almost act as a buffer. But side by side,
he's done it. Surely this time he's done it. He's into second place, and Zandvoort goes crazy. The Netherlands second, France sliding, but look at the smooth line. Jeroen Bleekemolen, look at the wide line he chooses, looking for the grip. That's where track experience counts. Now, can he do it to Team France as well?
I think he's got the speed, because France, I think, is struggling with grip overall. They cannot run at the sort of the normal pace we'd expect from France. In fact, Germany and Holland are capable of running quicker than France. They just haven't been able so far to have a go. Now let's watch and see what Jeroen Bleekemolen. Let's again look and see what he does. He goes very high up into the corner. There is grip up there on these wet, slick conditions, and then drops down.
Yeah, that was a good move there, wasn't it? Round the outside, but they're all sliding around. That was the reaction in the Dutch camp, but he did it. Yeah, says Jan Lammers.
But Jan Lammers told us to expect something special from his rookie driver here today, this afternoon. We didn't expect the rain to fall.
He's side by side with France. No, I thought he was for a moment. Nearly nosed alongside.
He's got to be patient. There are 20 laps to go, and we've got 25 minutes of this race remaining. I don't know which is going to come the sooner. I suspect the 70 minutes is now going to come sooner than the 25 remaining 20 laps to go. And looking to find a way, very, very slippery indeed, round 9 and 10.
Look at the reaction from the fans. He's being urged on, cheered on here. Team France's car twitching around in the wet. Remember, these cars were all set up for dry conditions. They weren't set up for the wet. They might have wet tyres.
France, the slide. You can see almost sideways in the track. Literally, there must be zero grip. Now, no problem, I think, whatsoever whatsoever for Bleekemolen to just come out of turn 12, get alongside, and put himself certainly into position to provide a mirror of what he did with Germany.
Team Netherlands trying to take the lead from Team France, the title holders in A1. He's done it. He's gone past.
And watch Germany.
Zandvoort has gone crazy. Team Netherlands in front.
And watch Germany. They're going to try and sneak through, not close enough to do so.
What a move by Jeroen Bleekemolen. He's taken the lead here with still 19 laps to go in the feature race, but the Dutch car is in front on Dutch soil. The youngster Jeroen Bleekemolen, who didn't think he would be racing here this weekend, he got the late call. This is how he did it.
Yeah, he did it because France are struggling for rear end grip. Holland have got a much better balanced car. They can carry the speed through turns 11 and 12 and effect come onto the straight more quickly, get alongside. We have seen Bleekemolen do this pass innumerable times, goes high up, gets the grip at the top of the circuit, and then drops down with more speed and accelerates past going up into turns 2 and 3.
He made it look easy, didn't he? Jeroen Bleekemolen, now he's got the pressure on though. He's got a long way to go in this race. What about Team USA, John? How far back is our man on slick tyres? 17 seconds or so?
Well, it is 17 seconds. The trouble is the track hasn't shown any indication to be drying out, but Germany now putting France under great pressure. Nico Hülkenberg, we've seen him drive in qualifying, stunning in qualifying, gets alongside as they come down the hill into turns 9 and 10.
Germany's done it into second place, and France is pushed back to third. Maybe it is a new order in A1GP in the first event of the new season. France, great in the dry, but they're definitely struggling in these damp conditions.
And I don't know why we've seen France's car, whether wet or dry in the first series, looking stunning, but clearly when the rain came and they went under wet weather tyres, they were not the class of the field. Nicolas Lapierre has been having to hang on by the scruff of his neck to keep that car on racetrack.
Look at them moving onto the wet line, trying to cool those wet tyres. There's still 18 laps to go. They've got to look after the wet tyres. And as the lap times reduce, the sun is coming out. You know, there's still a chance here for Team USA if the slick tyres start to come into effect. But at the moment, it's still tending to drop back a bit.
But I think we need to look more at the clock than laps to go, because we've got 22 minutes, 5 seconds remaining with 18 laps. And in my book, that looks to me like it'll be a time finish rather than a lap finish. But there you see the drying line as they come through turn 4 and climb the hill up into turn 5. Bleekemolen is on a set of wet weather tyres, as is everybody here. These Cooper tyres, they're not the super sticky, soft wet weather tyres we see elsewhere. These tyres are designed to enable a driver in these drying track conditions to stay out if it is necessary, rather than end up with a tyre that falls to bits the moment it sees a dry part of racetrack.
So Bleekemolen now with a clear track ahead of him, and he's pulled away quite a bit from Germany and France over the last lap or so. But don't discount Germany. Nico Hülkenberg's been looking very good, has raced here at Zandvoort in the past, a youngster, but it could be an opportunity. A quick glance in the mirror for Bleekemolen. Where's the opposition? They're not that close as yet, but still plenty of time.
But interestingly, the second quickest car out on track is not Germany or France, it is actually Italy. Italy up to 4th place. Where have they come from? We haven't seen much of Italy all weekend. We've been saying, well, maybe Italy has been taking drivers that are paying for the opportunity rather than taking talent and then generating sponsorship as a consequence. And they're running at 4th, and they're running second quickest per lap to the Netherlands.
Yeah, Italy up to 4th position, and that is a surprise. Alessandro Piagini driving superbly well. Brazil, you're looking at there briefly, they're running 16th. Ireland down in 17th. I'm afraid neither of those two nations are having a particularly successful time here at Zandvoort, but what a topsy-turvy race it has been in terms of conditions. The top 10 at the moment: Netherlands, Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, one of the ones to watch as well, because Switzerland actually got the fastest lap before it started raining, and Switzerland has been showing great pace. They're 5th. USA is now down to 6th with their slick shod car. Australia 7th, Mexico 8th. You're watching a battle here at the moment between Singapore and India, and that is for position, that's for 13th.
But should this track suddenly dry out, the USA is presently 27.5 seconds behind the Netherlands, the race leader. I don't think it's possible to come in, make that tyre change back to slicks and go back out again and still retain the lead. I think any of the 5 cars ahead of the United States, if or when they need to make that pit stop to come in and put on slick tyres, will find themselves running once again behind the USA and Phil Giebler and the USA, who may well have thrown the dice in the biggest possible way, could end up the winners here this afternoon of the feature race.
We're watching the timing screens to see when the USA starts to lap more quickly than all the cars on wet tyres. Singapore using the wet sensibly. That's Christian Murchison, who's driving well here this weekend, but I think India, has done the move on him there. It's got past around the outside, so India moves up to 13th position, 14th place for Singapore. Christian Murchison, his first single-seater race, I think in about 2 years, he also got a late call. There he is in the new Team Singapore car. Beautifully presented it is as well. And Murchison has been pretty heroic himself this weekend, getting such a late call, but has just lost that 13th position to Team India.
Well, just under 20 minutes remaining, and this is going to get very tense indeed, because those that are on the wet weather tyre are now having to contend with a drying line, and particularly through the very fast parts of the racetrack where it is just a single line. Other parts of the track, the slower parts like the Hoofdrace and Tarzan for that matter, haven't yet shown the signs of showing a drying line, but the time difference in lap time between the USA and the quicker of the cars on the wet weather tyres is hovering around 3.5-4 seconds a lap, favouring the wet weather tyre, but it's going to be very close. It's going to be a time race in my view. 16 laps to go and coming up to 18.5 minutes time remaining.
Team USA need that track to dry out a little quicker than it is. Of course, when we get to autumn type weather, the temperature's not as high as in midsummer. If we'd been midsummer, the track would be drying out very quickly. We'd be seeing steam coming off the surface, but that's not happening. It's not a cold day here at Zandvoort, but we certainly haven't got those higher summer temperatures that are going to dry the track out very quickly, and it may be that USA will simply run out of time. They're currently 6th, top 5, Netherlands, Germany, France, Italy and Switzerland. On board here with Team Ireland, they're still involved in this other little race that's going on with Brazil and New Zealand, all on wet tyres down on that section, and lapping fairly quickly. Canada's into the pits though, must be a problem there for Team Canada.
It is not a problem. The problem is that they've decided, they've seen the wisdom of what America is doing, and they've decided, well, let's again gamble, bring him in, and that is well, it's a good decision from John Village, who runs this team for Team Canada, and get him out. The track is drying, and I've seen races won here in Zandvoort in identical conditions to these by coming in early, anticipating the speed of track dry, and that could well be the decision that Canada have taken, and it may well be the judgment that America gambled, and that was a big gamble to take so early, because we never knew how long this rainstorm was going to last or how ferocious it would be. And it started a flurry of pit stops now. We're going to see a number of pit stops by the looks of things as people do decide to go to 6. That's because USA... France is back in.
Wow, France in. Well, that's very interesting. Yeah, I guess that is a very sensible manoeuvre from their point of view. They were running 3rd, of course. The car wasn't really working terribly well on wets. It was skittering around a lot compared to some of the others. France making the early stop.
And France, of course, have been the masters of pit stops in the previous series. So a good stop for France, get the airline out of the way. Nicolas Lapierre and drops the clutch, the car goes sideways on a very slippery pit lane. Of course, the pit lane probably one of the fewer parts of the racetrack that is going to get used. So he pulls out of the track as others come in. Again, teams deciding this is the point at which to go in.
I think he crossed that white line before it went dotted, but we'll have to check that later. Team GBR into the pits as well from 9th place for Great Britain, going on to slicks. Team USA is now lapping as fast as anybody. In fact, last time around, not quite the fastest lap of all. That was still the Netherlands, but who lead, remember, the Netherlands leads. Tyre change going okay, yep, and Manning is away.
But the key is that USA in 6th place is 28.7 seconds. They're holding station with the lead Netherlands car, and it's going to take more than 28 seconds to come in the pit lane, down to the speed limit, stop, then your team have got to come out and do that tyre change, and then go down the pit lane, and look at the field of cars coming in now, for Ireland amongst them, New Zealand and in Brazil.
Now this is an important pit stop. These 3 have been tied together, and look, they've stopped very close.
And Ireland can't get in properly because they've got a car between 2 cars. And France is off.
That's France on its slick tyres, and he's run out of road. He's kept it going. He's kept out of the gravel completely, but he's been passed by China there.
And that was down at turn 7. That's one of those long approaches. He comes down into the corner, and there was just, it was simply just too much power. Of course, these tyres, they may well have been in tyre blankets, but I suspect they have not been heated up to normal race temperature. Germany in from 2nd place.
So will the Netherlands decide to come into the pits? Are they going to risk staying out on their wet tyres? They've got 15 minutes lots of racing still to do, and Germany goes for the change and puts on the slick tyres. Netherlands lead this race. Are they leaving it too late to come onto slicks, or are they going to go for the gamble?
Well, the USA is now lapping quicker on dry slick tyres than Netherlands is lapping on full wet tyres. The gap is still 28 seconds, but if that's the case, a single or a couple of seconds a lap when the time available is a very, very close call, and I don't think it's possible, but the track will get drier by the lap, and therefore the distance in terms of lap speed between front and fourth where the USA is going to work in favour of USA. But that India car stopped and the exit of 7 is not going to help things.
So I've just seen, I think it was
hold on, France coming in.
Yeah, I saw a blue and white car come past. I thought, hang on, what's going on here?
And he's got his hand, I don't know what he's doing, he's got his hands out of the cockpit. Something went wrong, whether it was during that pit stop or whether something has occurred subsequent to the pit stop. He's driving straight into the garage, all over for France.
Team France is not going to start their campaign by winning here at Zandvoort. The reigning title holders are not going to score in the feature race. They scored in the sprint race, but it's all over for Team France in the feature. And that's going to make a big difference in their title defence. It's the Netherlands that leads, currently still out on their wet tyres, lapping at about the same pace as Team USA on the slicks. We're at the exact crossover mark. And how will these wet tyres stand up to these drying conditions? There is your race leader, Team Netherlands.
Well, if he can keep the pace that as USA is doing, the track, remember, is partially dry. It's dry in these very fast sections, in the slow sections around the back of the circuit where the sun is not able. It's a much lower sun on the horizon. At this time of year it would be midsummer, so they're not getting the benefit of the sun falling on those parts of the racetrack. The physics of the grandstands and the dunes and the topography of this area precludes it. So there you see, comes out of turn 5, breaks into turn 6. From here on, the track is still quite slippery.
It is going to be very tricky. Italy, by the way, as a result of all this, are now up to second. They also have not come into the pits. So Italy are in second place. Remember, they were out of luck in the sprint race here. They were a spinner. They got a contact into the first corner in the sprint race. Mexico back in. Oh, and he stalled it as well. It's all gone wrong. No, he hasn't stalled it. I don't know if he stalled it there or he just stopped and waited for the signal. Team Mexico back out on slick tyres, but they've left it a bit later than the others to make that change. You're looking now at Team Italy. Italy running in second position, but on wet tyres that are very much past their best. How long can they hold out on their tyres that are working so hard in this drying line? Look at that line. Look how distinct it is. And there, behind him is Team USA. Now, USA, if he gets past Italy, USA will move up into second position. It's coming back to Philip Giebler.
The gap between USA and the Netherlands down to 25 seconds. The gap between Italy and the USA, well, there you see it. And you have to say, with the experience that Giebler has had on these tyres, he can't take a chance and go down the inside. He's got to be patient again. We've said that so often of so many drivers here this afternoon. Phil Giebler has done an amazing job to keep his car on track when it was saturated, but he just simply drives around the outside of Italy. And Giebler, he's decided to go into the Team Italy, I beg your pardon, going into the pits for a tyre change.
So Italy left it late, and that will hurt them badly now, but it's Team USA on a charge. The gap first to second, 22 seconds, and the Netherlands still continues to lead. But now USA some 3 seconds a lap quicker than the Netherlands on the last lap.
Well, if we go the 12 lap distance, that's 36 seconds potentially, and in my opinion it'll be more as the track dries out. But this is going to be a race of time. We've got 11 and a half minutes of this race remaining, and that's going to work against the USA.
And the fastest man on track at the moment, in fact, is Nico Hülkenberg for Team Germany. A 1:35, a brilliant lap by the young German on the last lap. He is on slick tyres, remember.
The USA, of course, they were held up behind Italy on that last lap, so that 39.8 both hurt the USA, and that accounts for why his lap time was quite a lot slower than the similarly tired Germany.
Yes, and Germany's got little to lose. They've got to go for it, whereas USA knows he's got a lot to protect here in such a strong potential position. Team Netherlands is the race leader with nearly 11 minutes to go, or 12 laps. It's going to be the 11 minutes that will be the decisive factor. And will the wet tyres, those Cooper wet tyres on the A1GP car of Team Netherlands, will they last the distance? That's the question. That's what these guys are all hoping for. They're urging that car on.
Looking for every vestige of moisture. Jeroen, Bleekemolen, here he comes down. He's got no choice now to take the racing line, but he went from left sharp across the track to pick up the moisture close to the barrier on that main straight.
He's going to be struggling now for the remaining 10 minutes. Those tyres are going to be working so hard. He's coming up to lap the Singapore car here. And of course, cars that are maybe on slick tyres where he's coming up to lap them, that may make life pretty difficult for him. Onto the wet stuff to try and cool the tyre. This was a moment ago when Indonesia, I think it is, had a little bit of a trip. Across the grass, still on wet tyres, I notice.
Been a very adventurous weekend for Amanda Nicola. So he gets back on track. In the meantime, the gap between first and second down to 16 seconds. Germany in third, a further 8 seconds behind the USA, and lapping currently about 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap quicker.
Top 10, Netherlands, USA, Germany, Italy have dropped down now. Switzerland up to 4th place. China in 5th place. Great effort for Team China. Australia 6th. Mexico 7th. Indonesia dropped back a little bit. That means that Great Britain should be up to 8th. It depends if they got past Indonesia when Indonesia went off there. So Great Britain moving up the points a little bit behind them. Singapore, India, Canada and Greece.
And a little battle going on further down the field with Brazil making its way past Singapore as the race leader comes out very cautiously, not trying to put unnecessary load into those tyres. And New Zealand gets past Singapore as well as we go on board. And this is, I think it is Italy as they make their way back out on track on slick tyres.
So it's all happening. There are 9 to go, and it will be done on time rather than on distance. And coming out there is Team USA, about to cross the line and still closing on the race leader. And Simon has
7.6 seconds.
Simon has news from the pits.
Yeah, Team Netherlands are anxiously looking at the monitors. They're looking at the lap times now, and they're taking a gamble on leaving Jeroen Bleekemolen out on wet weather tyres and him to use his car control and circuit knowledge to hang on and win for Team Netherlands at home.
Well, let's see if he does, Simon, because the gap between the Netherlands and USA is down to 7.4 seconds. And, you know, USA was 9 seconds faster last time around. USA will catch him on this lap if they're not careful.
And Ireland just steamed past the Netherlands as they came out of the Hoofdrace hairpin bend up the hill. Even Ireland had to go offline onto the damp part of the circuit to get past the Netherlands, and they were able to do it and pull away. So now this is into a deteriorating situation. Jeroen Bleekemolen, who did such a great job on these wet weather tyres for the bulk of the race. There behind is the USA. Phil Giebler, the man who braved it out to stay on slick tyres when all around him dived into the pits for wet, is looking now at a possible victory.
But look at Germany. Germany is in the background and catching USA as well. This is a stunning drive by Nico Hulkenberg.
3 seconds a lap faster on the last lap. Nico Hulkenberg, another of these teenage wonders that's come into A1GP this season, and lapping in Team Germany 3 seconds quicker. There's the gap. Phil Giebler looking forward to trying to take the lead of this race, but this race victory may ultimately go to this young man, Nico Hulkenberg from Germany.
They called it well when they put our slick tyres on. Have they timed it to perfection? The Netherlands are going to take the gamble and stay out there. 7 minutes remain in this race. That means about 4 and a bit more laps to go. About 4 more laps, I should think. And can he hold on? I don't think he will hold on for 4 laps. The difference in speed is massive.
And poor Jan Lammer's face. He sees his team that's been leading this race for so long. The lead has just been gobbled up in the space of the last 3 laps. Team USA trying to go around the outside.
He's got to do it quickly because Germany's catching him.
Indeed he is. But Michael Devaney was able to do that comfortably coming around here. And Bleekemolen not about to give up the lead, but forced to concede. But watch Germany behind. The Hulkenberg going to dive down to the inside. Can he do it into 5? Wisely he chooses not.
So USA leads. Germany now in 2nd place, and the Netherlands, struggling round on their wet tyres, are demoted to 3rd. How far will they get in this race now? Because they're just waiting for the time to tick by. But Germany is the car to watch. This has been an outstanding drive by the youngster, 19-year-old Nico Hulkenberg, who is now applying the pressure to Giebler. But Giebler's exploits in the middle part of this race, when he stayed on slick tyres in treacherous conditions, I still think one of the best bits of driving we've seen in A1. But here comes Germany, and they're really hunting around for that lead.
And that was close going into turn 9. The German almost made contact to the back of the USA car. He's a young kid. He's got to learn to be patient. He's got the pace. The trouble is now that he's slowed up by running directly behind the USA car. 19-year-old Nico Hülkenberg has got to show maturity and patience at 19 years of age.
Phil Giebler, a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, but there's a shake of the head in the USA pit crew. Can USA stay in front in this race and take the first feature race win of the new season? We saw South Africa win earlier on today. They became a new winner. USA's never won a race, but neither has Germany. So we're likely to see another new winner.
And it's very hard to try and make a pass around the exit of Tarzan and into the Hugenholz hairpin bend. The possibility of doing it now up the hill under acceleration, both cars pretty much equally matched. But Hülkenberg didn't appear to get the power on a little bit earlier, has carried the speed, but again running up into turn 5. This is a very quick approach to easy to defend, no chance to dive down the inside. You do so, but the back of the USA car you can see is beginning to move around. Again, Germany has a more compliant car, able to get the power on earlier, and USA now has a mirror full of Team Germany.
So can the Stars and Stripes stay ahead?
He's got it, he's done it, he's through.
He's done it easily, hasn't he? Germany takes the lead. Germany takes the lead here in the Netherlands, and Nico Hülkenberg is another teenage sensation. We saw one in the sprint race in the shape of Adrian Zaug. Now we're seeing another. Nico Hülkenberg goes through. USA running in second. It should be a fairly safe second. Netherlands are still in third place, and the Netherlands are the ones still in danger. That was the reaction in the German camp as Nico Hülkenberg took the position, and the team there, the David Sears crew who look after the engineering on that car, what a wonderful moment it was for them. Now they've just got to keep it together for the remaining 4 minutes.
And Phil Giebler having to struggle to keep the car. Clearly Germany have got car speed. Nico Hülkenberg has done a magnificent job. He used maturity and patience, and we see here further battle going on. New Zealand and Canada, that's a battle for 12th position.
It is. The Netherlands, we think, are still in third place. Yes, they are, but being caught by Australia as well. You're looking at New Zealand further down the order, but right now the concentration really is going to be on whether Netherlands can hold on to a podium finish in this race. Canada running in 12th position. That was a change of place. New Zealand getting 12th ahead of Canada, but when they went past last time, the Netherlands had an 18-second advantage over Australia, but they were 7 seconds slower on the lap. This was another move. Italy and Singapore a moment ago. Italy now, and right off and actually hit the barrier.
Snaps the barrier. Probably not very much damage, but well, I don't know whether he'll decide he'll continue on. Italy had been running in 5th place, and that may just decide them that they'll just take what they can get. If they get a top 10 finish and pick up any points, they'll go for it. Just look at that. Australia makes its way past.
No, that was Malaysia. That was Malaysia. It did look similar, but it was the yellow and white car in Malaysia, so I think Netherlands still holding on to 3rd place at the moment. Australia not far behind, and then it's Mexico back there too. Can the Netherlands hold on for a podium on home soil or not?
They've got an advantage of 18 seconds, and we've got 2.5 minutes remaining, and I don't think that's going to be conceivable. Even Ryan Briscoe, as brilliant as he is, cannot make up that difference. It would need a mistake, an error from Johan Bleekemolen to allow Australia to get on that final podium position.
Well, it looks like we've got 2 laps to go. Germany's already crossed the line, some 3.2 seconds ahead of the United States. Here comes the Netherlands, about to cross the line in 3rd place, using his wet weather tyres to their absolute limit. There won't be much left on them, but you have to say the tyres have withstood a dry track remarkably well. And Team Germany out on their own now, coming up to lap the Czech car.
Well, Nico Hülkenberg has driven a race. I mean, I have to say, another youngster. We've got all these 18, in fact, 117 from Switzerland, 18, 19-year-old. Let's call them kids because they're not grown men yet. Some of them couldn't even go to a rent car because they're underage.
That's right, but they can drive an A1GP car, all 550 brake horsepower on board, and Germany's Nico Hülkenberg looking a new star perhaps to be born from Germany. As one sets off towards retirement, Nico Hülkenberg could be the new face for German motorsport.
Oh, what a great day. We've had one star from South Africa win the sprint race, and now seeing the emergence of another star. Both backgrounds come from karting, and that's the reason why these youngsters can get into a very powerful single-seater race car. We've seen it elsewhere this year, and they are immediately competitive, but they've got so many years of skill and experience behind them. That is based on a karting background. It is totally invaluable to any youngster who wants to have a career in motorsport.
He will see the checkered flag next time around. Last lap begins, and Germany is going to take victory surely. USA in second place, but what about that battle for third between the Netherlands and Australia? Let's see what the gap is when they come past us this next time. They're a long way behind these leaders, so I'm still waiting to see Netherlands come past our commentary position as we focus on Germany leading this race. And the Netherlands still not through. Are they going to get that podium finish? Yep, he's still in third. And the gap back to Australia, just across the line, some 2.7 seconds. So Australia's got a great chance of taking the final podium slot as we look at Germany. And Germany's just got to stay out of trouble here, coming up to lap Canada, who's running in 13th position. James Hinchcliffe won't make it terribly easy, but of course he's not going to want to hold up the leader. He'll be getting blue flags. I'm sure Team Germany will be able to nip through fairly quickly, not under much pressure from USA, who's some 5.7 seconds behind. There you are. Canada moves cleanly out of the way, and Germany continues en route, heading for Germany's first win in A1GP. 2 new winners to add to the tally from last year. It really has been a very open day indeed. 8 nations might have won in the first season, but we've already had 2 new nations winning races here today. South Africa and now Germany become A1GP winners. Out of the final corner, it's Nico Hülkenberg for Team Germany, who takes the victory at Zandvoort in the feature race. Second goes to the USA, but who is going to finish third? That's the big question. Look in the background, USA second. Now it's a long gap. You're going to be waiting here, waiting, because the Netherlands was a long way behind when they came past last time, but they're still racing for third position. There, Australia's through. I just saw Australia had got past, and it's the Netherlands now. Oh, their gamble didn't quite pay off. They're going to be just off the podium. He's going to finish in a heroic 4th place. Well done to Jeroen Bleekemolen, but Australia takes third. Netherlands takes 4th, and with that 4th they become the best nation finish on home soil. No nation has ever finished better than 5th in its home race in the past, so at least they've got that to celebrate. But I do feel for them. It was so close at one stage to a win and at least to a podium, but in the end those wet tyres just didn't have the grip in the drying conditions. What a race. Germany the winners, from the United States in second place and Australia in third, and drama throughout there. But when you look at the performance of this young German driver, Nico Hülkenberg, then you have to be impressed. I know the team had already been impressed with his abilities in testing. Oh, and off at the end there was Brazil. Brazil were running with 11th place, battling with New Zealand. Now, does that mean, I think we're going to see a change there, waiting for the other finishers to come through. Mexico has finished 5th, Italy is 6th, Great Britain 7th, Switzerland finish in 8th place, China 9th, only the second time that China have finished in the points in A1GP, and Indonesia finish in 10th place. So Great Britain unable to capitalise perhaps on the conditions on this occasion. Switzerland did a fine job because 8th place included a drive-through penalty earlier in this race, and indeed no, they didn't get fastest lap. The fastest lap was actually set towards the end by Team Malaysia. So Malaysia set the fastest lap despite being 4 laps down when they had an accident off the line on the green flag lap. So Malaysia's Alex Young was actually going very, very quickly towards the end of that race and set fastest lap. But Switzerland made good progress, moving up to 8th. And Jeroen Bleekemolen's getting out of his car virtually now as he celebrates a 4th place finish, just off the podium it might have been, but nonetheless an heroic drive there from Bleekemolen. The way he took the lead around the outside at the Tarzan corner, the fans truly have taken him to heart this weekend. He is the new Dutch hero, and what a response he's getting. Look at that. Isn't that something special? And he's going to lay a little bit of rubber down out there, out of the S's. And he just loves all this, and he loves playing to the crowd as well. Fantastic to see in a young man who hasn't done a lot of single-seater racing in recent years at all. But there is a man who's, like Adrian Zaug earlier on today, is making a name for himself. Nico Hülkenberg, winner for Germany. And there really is a new star around another new star. Team USA finish in second, but it's time to celebrate. Punches the air there, Nico Hülkenberg, and the team will be absolutely delighted with that. Team USA, great effort, you know, for Team USA. That matches their previous best result as well. In fact, no, better than their previous best result. So new best for the USA. And Australia, Briscoe, getting something out of a weekend that really wasn't looking very promising at all. Somehow he's brought the Australian car home in third, despite the fact that they weren't rocked opposite the grandstand there. And I think he's done a few donuts, leapt out of the car. Don't know if he did any donuts, we didn't quite see, but the fact that it's facing the wrong way gives an indication. And he's going to make the most of this. Fourth place, there's the team for Team Germany. His race engineer, Rob Creswell. I don't know whether he's a part of that. You can just see David Sears on the right. There's David Sears, who is boss of the engineering side of that team. Race engineer Rob Creswell will be, well, he'll be absolutely over the moon too. And Chris Gorn, who worked on the French car, race engineer for the French car last year, has joined that team, working mainly on the New Zealand car, but obviously across both cars to a certain extent, and working together with Rob Creswell, and they have come up with some great solutions. But I think that actually Hulkenberg was the man who did the job there, because the conditions were tricky throughout, and it was about how you drove the car in those conditions. Hulkenberg, the winner for Team Germany. Fourth, Mexico fifth, Italy sixth, Great Britain having to settle for seventh, Switzerland in eighth, China a great ninth place, and 10th place for Indonesia. 11th, New Zealand, then Brazil, Canada, Ireland and Greece. Singapore just behind them, not two teams together again. Malaysia with fastest lap, but finished 17th, ahead of India. France out of the race, and other people in trouble with the Czech Republic, Lebanon, Pakistan, and our first retirement and winner of the first race of the day, South Africa. Sun might be shining now, but the conditions in that race changed throughout. We started dry, we had the first round of pit stops, then it started to rain, and then it really was incredibly slippery out there for a while. But throughout it, Phil Giebler for Team USA kept the slicks on his car, and for a while there it looked as though that gamble had paid off. But the sheer pace and tactics for Team Germany, by bringing Hulkenberg in at the crucial moment, it allowed them to take the victory. Well, what a day of drama it's been. A fairly steady sprint race in the morning, but a topsy-turvy feature race in the afternoon. That goes to show that A1GP races are totally unpredictable here. The winning gap in the end, 7.8 seconds for Team Germany. I mean, Hulkenberg was flying towards the end, although, as I say, he didn't actually set the fastest lap of the race, but nonetheless, it was very, very impressive performance by him. And for the Netherlands, a fourth place finish, which I think they'll be pretty satisfied with. There is Jeroen Bleekemolen. He led the race, he looked set for a podium at one stage. It wasn't quite to be, but he certainly has not disgraced himself this weekend, with all of that pressure resting on his shoulders. The late call to drive the car, and he's still come through and performed. And that is a really wonderful effort. Probably worth the gamble from Jan Lammer's point of view. You could say, well, they might have brought the car in at the same time that Germany came in. But, you know, when you've got the lead of a race, you'll do anything to hold on to it. And if for some reason it had just rained a little bit more at that stage, which it could easily have done, then he would have been the real hero of the day. He would have come through as the race winner. As it was, he has to settle for fourth place, but they don't care. They've had a great time. They've been able to cheer him on. They've watched him in the lead of the race. They've enjoyed the battle that he's had. It was a beautifully clean battle throughout as well. We saw no nasty driving tactics. And he's going to do a bit of a Helio Castro Neves moment here, climbing the fences. It's good to see. The Dutch fans have taken A1GP to heart, and they've now taken Jeroen Bleekemolen to heart as well. Hope he gets down there safely. Germany, USA and Australia, the three drivers that we will be seeing, of course, celebrating first, second and third places, but the first man off the podium, Jeroen Bleekemolen, surviving a difficult race there to finish in fourth. So we're just waiting for the drivers to make their way up onto the podium now. And of course it's going to be Ryan Briscoe for Australia, man who has been in the points in every race he's driven except for the sprint race this morning. And if you think back to that sprint race, in fact, Australia finished in 13th position. So for Australia to have finished in 13th in the sprint race, started 14th in the feature, and they come through to finish in third place. What a great effort that was by Ryan Briscoe. There is Briscoe. Third place for him after all of that. But we're going to get to here. Anthem plays out, and whilst it might be a familiar theme in motorsport around the world, it's the first time that it's happened in A1GP. Germany becoming the 10th nation to win a race. But first of all, it's Ryan Briscoe to be presented his trophy, his medal, for finishing in third position. And a big smile there for Ryan Briscoe, scoring 8 points, and there's a big smile on his face there. Don't forget, good money as well for the feature race, $150,000 going to the team that finishes in third place, $200,000 prize money to the team finishing in second. And for Team USA, Phil Giebler, a star performer, now looked after by West Surrey, or by WSR, Team WSR, looking after the engineering for Team USA. And what a great start to their relationship it is. Second place for Giebler, who stayed on track in the most treacherous of conditions on slick tyres. But it's going to be a victory for Team Germany. And indeed, it is the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Jan-Peter Balkenende, who presents that medal and the trophy for victory to Nico Hulkenberg. So it's time for the photographs, and that is a podium, I think, that would have been extremely difficult to predict coming in to the races this morning after looking at qualifying yesterday. Germany actually were very quick in qualifying fourth on the grid for the sprint race. They had one of the fastest times throughout that session. But as I mentioned, the others, USA, they qualified in 7th. They were then given 6th with the demise of Switzerland. And Australia qualified in 13th place for the sprint race. So to come through and finish third, that is a great effort. Champagne spray time. Top international win for the first time for Hulkenberg. He's only recently come out of Formula BMW, for goodness sake. He was the German BMW champion in 2005. He's been racing in the German F3 Cup in 2006, finished 5th overall, had 3 poles and 1 victory. But he has impressed them so much with his pace in an A1 car. And Team Germany take their first victory. So the drivers will now make their way through to Panjir, the hospitality area, taking them a few moments to make their way over there, and we'll have a chance to listen to their comments as a result of that up and down race, wet and dry, changing conditions throughout, and a race that at times we thought that Team USA was going to win, we thought the Netherlands were going to win, we thought that France was going to win in the early stages. France, remember, had opened up a big lead in the dry. It looked as though everything was going the way of Team France, yet again, as we've seen on so many occasions in A1GP. But with the safety car coming out when it did, that certainly didn't help Team France. In fact, they recovered from that pretty well. But then when the rain came down, they left it a little bit too long before they changed onto wet tyres. That was the crucial call. And again, it was something that Team Germany did very, very effectively. They put the wet tyres on at the right time, but they also put the slick tyres on at the right time. It was a brilliant piece of team tactics there for Germany, because there were lots of things you could have got wrong, and yet they got every call just right, as it turns out with hindsight. Well, looking back on that feature race, a build-up that saw all the cars going to the grid, but a problem for Malaysia even on the green flag lap. We saw the demise, I'm afraid, of South Africa on the opening lap as a result of an accident up at turn 2, and then France seemed to have the race very much under control in the early stages. There were battles throughout. Switzerland had a drive-through penalty, but it looked for a while as though France were going to continue their winning ways from last season. As it turned out, however, the timing of the pit stops made a big difference. 1 or 2 avoided coming into the pits because of the spun car of Pakistan. Great Britain was one of the first to make a pit stop, and for a while it looked as though Great Britain was going to be in the best possible position once everybody else had made a stop. As it turned out, however, we then saw a change in weather conditions. Suddenly, it started to rain. Cars were flying off track, but only one car stayed out there on the slick tyres, and that was Team USA. USA retained the lead for many laps. Team France weren't having such a good time of it. They'd made a late call to put it onto the wet tyres. New Zealand managed to recover from that scary-looking moment, and Team Netherlands then emerged into the battle for the lead, getting past Germany first of all, moving up into second place, and then with this move round the outside, the Netherlands took the lead and held the lead for a long, long time throughout the feature. Germany, meanwhile, was on wet tyres and picking off the places as well. Still, people were getting into trouble, but it was all over for Team France with a mechanical problem that put them out. Then it was time to go back onto slick tyres. Again, Germany called it cleverly when they put their slick tyres on, and as they worked through the latter stages of the race, they were able to close up on Team USA, make the move, get past and take the lead. And in the last few moments, it was just a question of easing away to victory. Beautiful drive from Nico Hülkenberg, a fantastic effort by Phil Giebler to stay on track in the early stages. A last-minute accident between New Zealand and Brazil, who finished in 11th and 12th positions, but Team USA celebrating second, whilst Germany celebrate the win. So that was how Germany came through to win the first feature race of the season here at the Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Ryan Briscoe, Phil Giebler and Nico Hülkenberg, 3-2-1 in the feature race, and they're now with John Watson in Pangaea.
Welcome to the Pangaea A1GP VIP hospitality area here this weekend, and you're giving these three gentlemen a warm round of applause for what today was an outstanding display of driving skill, but most of all courage, particularly for those that stayed out in the slicks. But let's go to the race winner first of all, Nick Hülkenberg. Nick, I don't know what to say. You're at 19 years of age. You're one of this new generation of kids coming along. Where has it all come from?
I don't know. I just pushed hard and did my best.
You did more than your best. You won the race, and you were one of the drivers early in the race that got caught with a safety car. Did you ever think that after that situation, when you were wrong-footed when the safety car came in, that you could actually end up on the podium or win the race?
Not really. And when the track dries up, for my second pit stop, I didn't have any overview over the field. I didn't know where I was, and then I got a call from the radio from my engineer, and he said, "You're P1, okay, well done." And yeah, that's it.
And how difficult, having come in, put on wets, then going back out on the slicks, that looked pretty tough to us.
Yeah, it was, but I was not pushing too hard the first laps and was not really at the beginning on the limit, and but it was not too bad.
Well, thank you, Nick. Congratulations. Phil Giebler, I have to say, Phil, you're the most courageous man I've seen here this weekend to stay out on a racetrack, absolutely saturated on slicks, when others around you were falling off on wet weather tyres.
Yeah, it was a really difficult race, and I just had to give it up to my team for trusting my choice for staying out, and I knew the weather would blow by quite quick, and luckily it went our way, so it took some balls and it took a lot of luck, but it worked out, and I got to thank the team and Team USA. I'm grateful for putting me in the car, and I'm glad I could provide a podium for them.
Well, Phil, you say it was your choice. You actually said no to the team today, call you in.
Well, they gave me the option. They're like, it's quite wet, and I said, well, I'll just stay out. And once I made that commitment, is pretty much I just had to go out there and just stick with it and make the most of it. But it was hard. It was like driving on eggshells, and so many moments of almost going off. So I was lucky to stay on the track, and it proved to work out for us.
Well, you got 9 nice big fat points for your effort, and congratulations. Ryan Briscoe, you started 14th this afternoon for Australia. I bet you never thought you were going to be in the podium this afternoon.
Sorry, is that on?
Well, Ryan's got a little problem handing over from Phil.
Sorry about that.
Okay, Ryan, do you ever think you'll be in the podium?
It's just fantastic for us today. I mean, we've been struggling all weekend with the car setup, and you know, we tried some things for the race, so it was a completely new car setup for me in the race, and you know, we started off and it was running decently, but it was kind of hard to pass around here. And then, you know, with the safety car, we sort of got caught out there at the wrong time, and things weren't looking terrific. But then saw the heavens opening up, and we thought this could be our chance to get back in it. And you know, all the crew guys at Team Australia, they were fantastic. They were ready for me every time, and they always gave me the options to do whatever, you know, I could see around the track was necessary.
Well, Ryan, you pinched the place, that last podium place, off the local hero Jeroen Bleekemolen, who also did the opposite of Phil. He stayed out on wet weather tires. I bet you feel sorry for him today.
I know. They were telling me he was third. I was coming around the last lap, and they said, you're about 8 seconds quicker than him. He's on wets, and this is the last lap.
You may not get out of here tonight, my friend.
And I'm looking at the crowd, and it's all orange, and I'm like, is it the right thing to pass this guy for third? But had to do it. Sorry, Holland.
It was a great race. I mean, starting from 14th, coming all the way through. I mean, an outstanding drive from all 3 drivers. Nico, thinking about, first of all, congratulations. You're actually now leading the A1GP Championship. You got 13 points, so that's a little bit of a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great for us, for Team Germany, but yeah.
Tell me, you're in the car, I take it, for Brunn next weekend.
Yeah, there's next week Brunn, and I'm sitting again in the car, and yeah, we want to try to make something good again.
And the seat holder for Team Germany, of course, is a friend of mine, a gentleman called Willy Weber. Do you think this drive today is going to impress Willy Weber at all?
I don't know. Wins,
I mean, first of all, is he your manager?
Wins are always good, and I don't know what he's thinking, but I think he's quite happy.
I should think he's very happy indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for 3 great drives on a very, very difficult afternoon here in Zandvoort. Nico Hulkenberg, Phil Giebler, and Ryan Briscoe.